Okay, right, let's start off. And anyway, good afternoon to you all. Nice to see you. Okay. Right, I'll start the agenda. Any declaration? Oh, no, minutes first. Confirm the minutes of the last meeting. Has anybody got any comments? I've just got one, and that's paragraph 5, and that was a question about the composition of the committee. And an updated document be recommended to full council for approval. Did that happen? Does anyone know?
Ian, I can update that if you like.
Yeah, please, Alec.
Yeah, it's formed part of the council's new constitution.
Yeah.
So the updated document will say that it recognises that there are 7 members on this committee, and that you're the chair.
Okay.
So it just reaffirms that. Obviously, we've obviously got some changes with members. Brian being a case in point. So the names might change, but there will be 7. There'll be 7 members.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks a lot. I was just thinking there was something else it was paragraph 7, paragraph C, the Harbour revision order. We were going to get an update at that meeting. Is that right, Jonathan?
Yes, and it's on the agenda for today as well.
Yeah,
the update.
I think yeah. Okay, I think I've read that. Right. If no one's got any more points, yeah, Julie.
Declaration of interest, Chair.
That's next. I'm coming to that next. Okay.
Right. Bear with. I haven't got any papers. You see, I wasn't sent papers, so bear with me.
Okay, we need to move on to the next agenda item, which is declarations of interest. Does anyone?
Declaration of interest, Chair. Let's start just to declare I'm the local member for one half of Newport Harbour on the Isle of Wight Council and Newport and Carroll Community Council.
I take it Matthew's got the other half. Yeah. Okay. Both noted. Okay.
Can I just mention that I'm the elected councillor on Ventnor East?
Oh, are you? Yeah. Hello. We're frozen. Graham's frozen. Anyway, we know what he was saying. Okay, the next one's public question time. Do we have any public questions? Questions from the public?
Chairman.
Sorry?
We haven't received any.
Okay, good.
Ventnor East.
Hi, Graham. You back?
No, he's not.
Okay. I'm sure he said something.
Hello.
Yeah, I know what he means. He's a representative for Ventnor East. Is he representing Ventnor Town Council and their interests? Okay, we'll move on to the next item, which is the finance report. We've all got a copy of that.
Yeah. You're breaking up.
Who was that speaking?
Graham, I think.
Hello.
Hello.
Ah, Graham,
Can
you're
you
back.
hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
You
You're
froze.
breaking up.
You froze for a while.
Yeah. I thought it was you.
No, we're all here looking at you.
All right. Okay. That's better now.
Okay, good. You've got a slight feedback. We can hear an echo when you speak. Doesn't matter. We'll crack on. Right, the next agenda item is agenda item 4, Graham, which is the financial statement. Does anyone need to talk us through that?
Ian, I can do that if it helps.
Yeah, please, Alex, if there's any particular issues that members might want to question.
I think the first issue, which hasn't occurred unfortunately this time, I think in the previous minutes we've obviously said that we were going to include Ventnor Harbour and Ryde
Yes.
Harbour for the first time.
Yeah.
Clearly what we do need to do, which was possibly an oversight, as we have included those two harbours, is to provide accounts for both of those harbours for the next meeting. As I think that's important. At the moment, we've only got the accounts for Newport Harbour, as we traditionally have done in the past. I think the points to note, I think, with the current Newport Harbour report is that there is a significant overspend at the end of or forecast for the end of the year. And you can see that that's largely due to obviously the lack of income received during the pandemic, which is not uncommon to many other income generating areas around the council. I think and I'm more than happy to take some questions on these, but I think the other point that maybe is worth pointing out, which does tend to stand out in terms of the expenditure, is the forecasted overspend on the supplies and services budget. That is actually a forecasted overspend in as far as the accountants are estimating that we may have some legal costs associated with the delivery of the Harbour revision order.
Right.
We've obviously had some legal costs attached to that, but that's yet to be confirmed. But that 16,000 relates to that.
Okay. Right. Thanks, Alec. Anyone got any more comments? Brian, you're muted.
As I said, I don't understand, and well, I understand what's here, but how does this relate to the council's accounts? Does that get included, or is it a completely separate issue?
No, this has come from the council's budgetary accountant, so it does relate to the council's accounts as well. So the forecast relates to the current budget, which is in column 2.
So if we're looking for savings, if we are there only going to be any available from these accounts?
Yes, there may be. It's something we can look at. And obviously, this is for this current year. But if we return to some degree of normality, then we can look at areas like the leases and the berthing fees, etc. It is an option. There aren't huge amounts of money in here, but it is something to look at. Yes.
So I take it that for me to look at and have to have a discussion with you about separately.
Sorry, Brian, I didn't quite catch that.
What I was saying was, is that something I have a conversation with you about?
Yes, myself and Sean, yeah.
Yeah, because I take it there's no one in between you and me to sort this out, to look at these figures and so on.
That's right, probably best to come to us, yeah.
Okay, so can we make a date at some stage when I have a space in my diary, where I have a life, that I can we can talk about this?
Okay.
Okay.
That's Brian.
Okay. Any more questions? Okay. Jonathan, the report, please. Get well plan and senior harbour masters report.
Hi all. Our get well plan is sort of moving along. It's still reasonably short. The main one is waiting for the HRO, and then once that goes through, then start putting together the general directions. And then the others, we are moving forward with them, and we hope to get them sort of actioned shortly. For the quarterly report, the main risk we've got at the moment is the harbour is with everywhere is the COVID-19 and the restrictions that have had to be in place for that. The other main thing to point out is that we haven't had the maintenance harbour staff in for the beginning of this report quarter, but they did come back to work on the 27th of July, and they are now working singly, covering tides of 2 hours either side. The other plus side that's come from this is that we have now got the option to take card payments at the harbour, which is something that we haven't had in the past. Other than that, it's sort of just general actions that have been taken in the harbour over from June to August. Most of it has just been dealing with making it safe and the general sort of use of the boats. Are there any questions that anyone would like to ask?
I've got one, Jonathan, when I read through, and you obviously report on the equipment that your team uses, and I just queried about the launch that has to be pumped out. How many times a month? 9 times in 3 months.
Yeah.
Is that not normal? I don't know. I'm not a sailor.
Some of the pumping out is sort of 30 seconds.
All right.
It's just when it rains. The boat itself doesn't take on water. It's just rainwater that collects. Some of the times, probably the worst I've had to pump out was about 2 minutes.
Oh, right. Okay.
So I mean, it's nothing out of the ordinary. The reason we use a manual bilge pump is because if we have an automatic one, then it can continuously drain the batteries, and as people are in every day, or it's checked, so it's not an alarming amount, I would say.
Ian, can I ask a question?
Of course, Brian. Go on. Shoot.
I'm all new to this. What launch?
We've got a 23-foot Dover that the harbour have for just accessing the Folly and other locations.
If it rains, don't you cover it up and stop it getting full of water?
It's got quite a big open cockpit, so we could put a cover on it, but it would take time and probably longer than
pumping it out. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks, Graham.
Would it be possible for you to give us an update on Ventnor Harbour, Haven, as to where it's going at the moment?
With the present operation of Ventnor, our pontoon there is checked reasonably regularly by me. We have got most of our berths there full, and everything else seems to be operating quite well. As for the disposal, I think that's being discussed later.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Ian, just for completeness, can you do a report on Ride Harbour? I'm not anything to do with it, but let's have that one as well.
Do you have that info, Jonathan?
Ride Harbour, I don't have the report in front of me, but we started manning it the same time as we started manning Newport. We are manning it 2.5 hours either side of tide. Our visitors numbers are lower than they were last year, but that's understandable, and our permanents are reasonably full there, and the ongoing maintenance and everything else is being carried out. And we're planning a dredge of the entrance before our restrictions come into place, so then we should be okay for the winter.
And just one other thing, if Alex is still there, if I'm looking at the financial report in Newport, I might as well look at the other two in Ventnor and Ride at the same time.
Yeah, of course we can do that.
Well, this just makes completeness now.
Oh, of course. And this is the first meeting that we've had where the terms of reference reflect Ventnor and Ride, so it's early days. But I think as we move forward, and it includes all three harbours should be fully represented at this meeting. So yes, we can look at those, Brian, and then we certainly can bring them back to this meeting in the future. It might be worth me just adding to what Jonathan has said with regards to Ride, which, thank you, Jonathan, that was a very good brief update. In terms of disposal, there has been some further work done with regards to Ride Town Council's expression of interest to take on the harbour. And we have had all of their information back, and we are currently considering that, and that is with Stuart Hutchinson at the moment for consideration. I think it's likely that we will go back and have some further dialogue with Ride Town Council.
Yeah. Do you have any control of who will come from Ryde? I think it'd be a local councillor, will it, from Ryde?
Yeah, they've got a little working group, Brian, in Ryde that's working on the harbour that we've been working with.
So it won't necessarily have to be a member to be on to represent Ryde.
They are mainly members on that group, and the clerk comes to those meetings. Yeah, and Stuart Hutchinson came to those meetings in the past.
Is Michael Lilly on that group?
He hasn't been. It's mainly been Councillor Turvey. Obviously, he has some harbour experience.
Okay, Don Graham.
Otherwise, Ian, you might need all those full 3 hours if Michael joins.
Graham, go on.
I know we're pushing to get going, but is there any dialogue going on between the County Council and Ventnor Town Council with regarding disposal?
Yes, there's been a number of preliminary meetings, Graham, but the concentration at the minute, Ryde is a little bit further advanced with those discussions. So obviously Ryde is progressing at a slightly quicker rate, but yes, there've been a number of meetings with the Town Council there.
Okay, would you be able to make sure that I get put into the loop with anything that's going on with the Ventnor one, because I get a lot of people asking questions and I don't know the answers.
More than happy to do that. I mean, I think we will be bringing back that information to this group anyway, Graham, so yes.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Anybody got anything else for Jonathan? No? Okay. Well, let's move on to item 6, which is the harbour revision order. I take it Alex going to give us an update.
Sorry, Chairman, you've missed the senior harbour master's report.
Thought he's done that. Jonathan?
That was the get well plan, wasn't it? Yeah.
That was the Get Well plan and the Senior Harbour Master report. I did both of them, but I'm happy to take any more questions if there are any on the report.
Anybody? Okay. Harbour revision order then.
Yeah, that's me. Right, I normally provide a verbal update on this. For the benefit of the new members involved on this group, we have been seeking a harbour revision order for Newport Harbour, which would give us a slight change in powers in terms of managing the harbour. It's a very kind of weighty legal document. We started this process about 2 years ago and had lodged our original draft of the HRO with the organisation responsible, which is the MMO, the Marine Management Organisation. We've been somewhat disappointed at the length of time it's taken. It's a considerable length of time. I think they've indicated that it's probably one of their most long-standing applications for an HRO. We've obviously got caught up with the COVID situation, and there's obviously been a number of changes of personnel, which I've reported earlier at the MMO. I would like to think we are getting very close to resolving that and getting a decision from the MMO. They have come back to us with the latest amendments to the original draft. They did that on the 15th of September with 3 further amendments, very minor things in terms of Article 15, 16, and they are very minor. We have gone back with our recommendations. So I'm ever hopeful, considering we've waited nearly 2 years for this, that we will get a resolution from the MMO on the harbour revision order for Newport, which is a significant document for the regeneration of the harbour as well. I can't say I'm happy about the situation. We're in no way in terms of controlling how quickly these government organisations work. But to be perfectly honest, and certainly Chris Ashman has certainly voiced the council's concerns about the length of time it's taken the MMO to process this HRO, which has caused us significant issues as well, because it made the consultation quite difficult. It took place over such a long period of time. But in terms of an update, we've got 3 minor issues to resolve, and I'm hoping we get a decision this side of Christmas. I don't know if anybody's got any any questions on that at all.
If I may, Chair,
Go on, Brian.
it's just that Alex, when we talk about the finances, perhaps you can just give me an update on what it's all about when
Of
we
course.
do that, rather than bore everyone to death now.
Okay, that's fine, Councillor Tyndall. No problem at all.
Okay.
Okay. Is that you done, Alex?
It is, yeah.
Okay. The next item is members' question time.
I've asked all mine.
Yeah, I think people have as they've gone along. Okay. Nobody got anything? Okay then, members, we've got to the end of the... Oh, go on, Matthew.
Thank you. Thank you, Chairman. It's just about, it is about the Harbour revision order. Sorry, I should have asked it then. I was just sort of thinking to myself, really. Obviously, the Harbour revision order's gone on for some time. Probably, certainly for the whole of this administration. I think it began in the last. And I've obviously, being a member for one side of the river, had heaps and heaps of information about the previous Harbour revision order from 1988. I just wondered, with regards to the amount of changes that are proposed in this Harbour revision order, whether there is any possibility that they could grant a partial revision based on the items that can be changed easily, even if some of the more complex ones are left to be maybe you know, an add-on to that later on. I just wonder what you think on that, Alex, because I'm just mindful that it's gone on quite a few years already, and it could, certainly in the current climate, could go on somewhat for a longer period of time. What's your feelings on that, and is there any benefit to asking for some kind of interim solution to that?
I think my view on that would be, I would like to get a complete, obviously get it completely agreed, but if we haven't done that by Christmas, then I think we may have to look at what the other possibilities might be. There'd be a legal view on that, I guess, about whether there could be a partial agreement, because the draft is obviously for a full HRO, and obviously subsequently from that, they'll then form a lot of other issues which will be more related to things like the reissuing of the general directions, which is really about how the harbour runs. And I think that's going to be the really important bit for Jonathan in terms of managing the harbour. It's the general directions that flow from that legal HRO document, because we can't manage the harbour adequately with the current legislation, some of which goes back to the early 1900s and it is quite frankly irrelevant to the modern day.
Absolutely. Thank you.
But, yeah. I don't know whether Joseph Rene from legal is on this call. I don't know whether he would have a legal view on that. I'm not sure that's actually possible without starting the process again.
I was just going, yeah, I think that we would have to start again, and I think we'd all want to avoid that situation. I don't know. I'm not aware of a faster route, and I think with the changes involved, all the government departments have to have their say, unfortunately. So I don't know if it would be any quicker, but we could certainly have a look at that if there are continued delays. But hopefully we're at the other end of it now. So
good stuff. Thank you.
Okay. We all done? Can I ask the Newport members, in particular, if you are sort of up to speed on the regeneration plans for the harbour?
What do you mean?
Well, you know the regeneration directorate has, you know, plans, aspirations for Newport Harbour. I just wondered if you were up to speed. Go on, Matthew.
Well, I won't get hung up on the sea close housing element of the master plan, but obviously I've been on that element. I've been speaking with the leader, and we're looking for a decision, perhaps in the next couple of weeks on that. But I think overall, obviously, I think it's going to cabinet in November now, not October, I believe. Mm-hmm. And I think that is with the potential that there may be some other additional items to perhaps be added into that. I don't know if Chris Ashman is here today. Maybe he can advise us on that. But I understand that the potential at looking at the harbour master plan in maybe a wider Newport view could be on the horizon, which would be fantastic. I know Councillor Jones-Evans would probably welcome that, because you know, I think as local members that have been representing the river for the last nearly 8 years, we're very keen to see the harbour master plan to some degree coming to fruition. But what we want is regeneration for the harbour and for Newport in general. But but if Chris Ashman's here, he might be able to perhaps update us. I don't know.
I can't see him.
All I could add to that, Ian, is that we've been very involved up until the plan came out. However, if there's other things that have happened recently, I haven't been updated, no. And you know, Matthew and I found out some interesting news last night, which we had no idea about. So obviously there's always conversations going on in the background, but whether local members hear about them, I can't really say one way or the other.
Yeah. Shirley, you were going to speak. Can't hear you, Shirley.
Is that better?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. No, I personally would very much appreciate an update. I was hoping to have one, and I can't remember what happened, but we didn't get it, because I'll be perfectly honest, when we were discussing it originally, I wasn't operating at full pitch as far as the council was concerned. I'll be perfectly honest, and I would very much like an update.
Well, the reason for my question was because I was thinking of inviting Chris Ashman along to the next meeting and get him to brief us all.
Yes,
on the
I
plan.
would very much appreciate that.
I mean, I'm not quite sure when the next meeting is, but it might be a few months away. Maybe that's too late. I don't know. But I'll talk to him anyway.
Thank you.
You'd be in favour of that, would you?
Yes, personally, but yeah.
Yeah, well, yeah, I'd like to know as well. Okay.
I have to go for the meeting now.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you all for coming. I'm sorry it didn't last 3 hours.
Chairman,
Try
apologies.
better next time.
Alex,
Steve, can you hang on a minute?
Okay.
Steve, could you hang on a minute? I just want a quick word with you.
Yeah, I was just going to ask Ian if he could hang on, but
Yeah.
He can stay, that's not a problem.
Yeah. Good
Thank
enough.
you to all of you.
Thank you.
I'll wait till they go.
Wait till that live thing goes.
Thanks very much. Cheerio. See you
Yeah,
next time. Thank you.
See you, Graham.
Bye.